Alrighty folks, and welcome to another episode of Voltz Supreme's Synth VGM Dream Stream Machine podcast, where we play for you the synthiest synth video game tunes in the universe. I'm your host, Voltz Supreme, and we've got a really interesting episode lined up for you all today, as always. The theme of today's episode is AAA games. Now, let's be honest, it's a pretty loose term, but basically we're talking about big budgets and stuff that's definitely not indie. Right, so I tried to get a few people to be today's guests. We really wanted like a CEO of a well-renowned game company. So we contacted all the big video game companies like Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, EA, Plastic Allen, Rockstar, all the big ones. Well, no surprise, we had a little bit of difficulty. But then we did get a response from one pretty highbrow individual. His name, his title, he's called Sir Baron Lewis Windsor. He's the chairman of the British Game Society and also a very, very wealthy aristocrat. So we figured the next best option was someone who knows games, but is also wealthy. Now, I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it most definitely makes absolute sense to us. So he's currently on hold, so we should probably get him online now. So, Sir Lewis, welcome to Voltz Supreme's Synth VGM Dream Stream Machine podcast. It's an honor to have you speak with us, sir.
Right, very well. Good day to you, Voltz. Do you mind if I just call you Volley? It's most certainly a much more palatable title.
Hey, that's fine with me, Lewis.
Please address me by my full title. I didn't spend 30 years in the South Syrian jungle documenting primate agriculture to be simply called Lewis.
Okay then, Sir Baron Lewis Windsor. Well, look, this
Charles, my foot steam is getting a little cool. Would you mind shuffling this up a little bit, old boy? I don't know what I'd do without Charles. Saved my life, he did.
Oh wow, that's incredible. Alright, well let's kick things off with a song, and maybe later we'd love to hear about you and Charles.
Yes, of course, but what is this song nonsense? I was under the impression that you would ask me my opinions of the current stagnation of game.
Yep, we'll definitely get to that, but we like to play lots of songs, so let's kick this off with our first AAA song of the episode. This is Painted in Blood by Cliff Martinez from the game Far Cry 4. Enjoy. was Painted in Blood by Cliff Martinez from Far Cry 4. I'm a pretty big fan of Cliff's. He's mostly known for his film soundtracks. He's done a ton of great soundtracks for films like Solaris Drive, The Foreigner, and like heaps more. Personally, what I love about Cliff's work is his way of really using sounds and production as his primary method of invoking atmosphere and emotions. It's really clever stuff, and not a huge focus on composition, which he will. I've heard him admit to his lack of skills in certain areas, but he's a pretty humble guy, but creates really epic soundtracks. Fun fact: in the 80s, he was a drummer for Captain Beefheart and then the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Definitely check out Far Cry 4 soundtrack and all of Cliff Martinez's film and TV series soundtracks.
My apologies.
Stuff. I love it.
My apologies, Volley, but is this some sort of joke? I say, that song you just played, it was like having my head jammed in the bonnet of a car, starting the engine, and then being hit with a large stick. I mean, I might even enjoy that more than what I just heard. I seriously think you need your cognitive functions psychologically evaluated if you found that racket enjoyable in any way.
Oh, wow. Well, you're going to love what we have coming up next.
Charles, you know I hate seeing my cognac glass on the young side of empty. Hurry along, old boy. Top me up. I don't know why I have to ask, Charles. Absolutely useless walking piece of meat. My apologies, Volley. Didn't seem like you were saying anything of much value anyway.
Yeah, right. Not a problem. Let's get to our next AAA song then. This comes from the game Borderlands, the pre-sequel. And I have to say, if you love outer space synth music, you should check out this soundtrack. It's actually really good. So this is one of the more upbeat tunes. Here it is, Celestial Spaceport by composer Jesper Kyd. K-Y-D. I'm going to say Jesper Kyd. Enjoy. Celestial Spaceport by Jesper Kyd from the game Borderlands, the pre-sequel. I'll be playing more tunes from that in the future, that's for sure. Alright, so Sir Baron Lewis Windsor, let's talk about you for a bit. The term gaming is pretty broad, so would you mind giving us a bit more of a specific example or explanation of what you deal with on a day-to-day basis with your gaming society?
Yes, right. Well, obviously I oversee the entire British Game Society from New Hampshire to the Scottish fjords. We have society colonizing outside of Britain, and I oversee all of them from my comfy mansion here in London.
Yeah, okay. So what kind of genres or...
Charles, my feet are getting a little bit sweaty. Would you mind giving them a little pat with the old powdered cushion, would you? Thanks, Charles. I don't know what I'd do without him. He saved my life, you know.
Yep, you mentioned that. We'll get to that later, but first, what we're saying. What genres are you mostly dealing with?
What do you mean, genres?
Like adventure, shooter...
Yes, of course. Lots of shooting. Rifles, mostly. I guess you could say there's an element of adventure.
Okay, so you would have known about Borderlands then?
I have no idea what you're talking about, child.
Alright. Well, let's get to our first track request of the episode. This one is from fellow VGM podcaster, Alex the Messenger. Here we go.
Hey, Voltz Supreme. It's the Messenger, the host of The Messenger Presents a VGM Journey. I got a pretty awesome track for you that I'm pretty sure you'll like. It's from the game Prey. It's Everything Is Gonna Be Okay. And I couldn't tell you too much about the game other than it's, pretty atmospheric. And the song, you just gotta give it a listen. It's really awesome. Hope you enjoy it.
That was Everything's Gonna Be Okay by composer Mick Gordon from the Bethesda game Prey. Man, what a killer song. It just pulls on my little heartstrings. It's a perfect example of what synthwave should be, in my opinion. Emotional, nostalgic vibes, and man, that production is possibly up there with the very, very best. Thank you, The Messenger. So everyone remember to go check out The Messenger Presents a VGM Journey. Because, yeah, I think he just earned everyone's trust with that song choice right there. Check him out. Good stuff. Alright, Sir Baron Lewis Windsor. Surely you enjoyed that song.
I did actually. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And I will tell you why, Volley. Firstly, I turned the volume right down. I had Charles top up my cognac, and then I thought about shooting Giraffe.
Oh, okay. I see. Alright, this is not going well. Alright. On that note, let's get to the next.
He's gonna play another one of those rambunctious musicals again.
GFX, sorry. Up next we have Prague, composed by Sascha. Again, I can't pronounce this. Sascha Dikiciyan. I have no idea. From the game Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Enjoy. That was Prague, composed by Sascha Dikiciyan from the very AAA game Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Pretty good stuff. I'm going to take a guess right now, and I'm going to say that what you just heard was a few different musical sections that would play dynamically during gameplay based on what's happening in the game. I'm not sure. I haven't played it. But let me know if I'm right. A lot of these games, like, you obviously could not imagine that playing on repeat while you're just going through a level. There's obvious different levels in intensity. So let me know if I'm right. If you've played the game, I'm pretty sure I am, but
Could also be a cutscene.
so there's a good handful of nice atmospheric synth tunes in the latest Deus Ex games. They're all worth checking out, and we'll most probably play a few more in the next in the future. Okay, Baron.
I think we're done here, Ollie.
No, Baron. We need to hear about how Charles saved your life.
Yes, well, that is an interesting story. Very well, I will oblige. Well, we were game hunting in a South African safari, dude. Charles was driving the carts and carrying our luggage. Well, would you believe it, but as we were driving along, a great ferocious lion pounced out from the shrubbery. My rifle was not even loaded, but in the time it took that lion to rear back and lunge forward, I'd already loaded my lucky silver bullet I keep around my neck, and I fired. A good shot it was, Volley. A damn good shot.
Sure it was.
Straight through the jaw and into its brain. Made a damn good rug, that lion did. A damn good rug. But the bullet hit a tooth on the way through, and it ricocheted out of the lion's mouth and, would you know, landed straight into my jugular.
Oh my gosh.
Now, I always do my research, Volley. I always do. I'm beyond well prepared for any expedition. And I knew that lion's tooth was completely covered in bioorganisms that my biosystem could not deal with. Cowards. Foolish humans. I could have died if it were not for Charles. He was the only one game enough to remove the tooth and suck the infection from my jugular. He saved my life, you know.
Wow. What are we even talking about? Gosh, I need another song. We've got one more request. Let's give it a whirl.
This is Carlos from the Heroes 3 podcast, and my pick for this episode is Aquarius from Night Striker, composed by Masahiko Takaki and arranged by Tamayo Kawamoto. When Voltz asked me for some suggestions, I wanted to find something funky, but still true to his search for synth. I think this fits nicely. It's also got a lot of that YMO energy that I feel Zentada, the Taito sound team, was influenced by. And although this probably isn't what people will immediately think of when it comes to AAA games, Taito was one of the strongest forces in the arcades at the time of Night Striker's release, so I'd argue that it fits. Enjoy!
that was Aquarius from the game Night Striker, originally composed by Masahiko Takaki. This is a real gem, and I can't think of any other soundtrack that sounds like this. It most definitely sounds like early YMO, and I wouldn't have been surprised if it was arranged by YMO's Hideki Matsuda, but it wasn't. But yeah, he was responsible for a lot of the synth engineering in YMO's early albums. Yeah, I don't think I ever would have found that, so many thanks to you, Carlos. I'll be checking out the other tunes from this game, that's for sure. And make sure you all check out Carlos's podcast, Heroes 3 Adventures in Asian Cinema. The name says it all. Okay, well, during the last song, we actually tried to record the Baron doing an intro for the podcast like we always do, and he literally just hung up. So, I'm sorry, folks. We really screwed up with today's guest. Obviously, the tunes were still great. Big thanks to Carlos and the Messenger. And hopefully you had a laugh or something. You enjoyed the Baron. I'm sure I will once I listen back to it, but I'm kind of stressing right now. Yeah, so let's move on. Look, we're almost done. I still haven't ranted about AAA game soundtracks, I mean. I had a lot of trouble finding decent synth music for this episode, to be honest. And, if it was a podcast for orchestral music and the style and genre of Hans Zimmerich, I think we could have gone all day with songs, but I don't know. I was a bit disappointed, to be honest. I'm definitely not against orchestral music in any way. I love it. It's generally a lot deeper and more complex than synth music, but so many of these AAA soundtracks I listen to were just trying to sound like, well, another AAA blockbuster film, really. Look, rather than bashing AAA, I think I'll just end with this. What I love about indie music, which is the opposite of AAA, is the creativity that comes with limitations, and obviously the freedom to be more unique and experimental. I could go on, but it's all subjective, and we're here for the music, so let's end on a cheery note. Yes, this last tune is called Right Side Down Galaxy from the very, very AAA game Super Mario Galaxy 2 by composer Mahito Yakota. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Enjoy the tune, and remember to stay synthetic.